Hello everyone, this is class number 23. Today we are going to learn about loop or iteration. I divide this class into 5 parts. This class is the first part of total 5 classes on loop. Today we are going to discuss about what is loop and an important loop called for loop. So welcome to Classroom Computer. Let's start. Let's see why we need loop or iteration in program writing. After knowing how to write a decision-making program, if the question is write a program for sum of first 3 natural numbers, then you can write this int x equals to 1, int y equals to 2 and int z equals to 3 and sum equals to x plus y plus z. Assume that we already declared sum as an integer variable, or you can write sum equals to 1 plus 2 plus 3. The first one with variable and the second one with constant. Both are correct. If I said sum of first 5 natural numbers, then you may write this int x equals to 1, int y equals to 2, int z equals to 3, int p equals to 4, int q equals to 5. All ints are integer and sum equals to x plus y plus z plus p plus q. Here also assume that we already declare sum as an integer variable, or you can write directly constant sum equals to 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Okay, that's okay for first 5 natural numbers. In both programs, number of natural numbers equals to number of variables we declared. But if I am talking about sum of first 100 natural numbers or sum of first n natural numbers, then what you do? It's not feasible to declare 100 variables or any random number of variables at runtime. Here we need loop or iteration, by which we can repeat same line of code again and again. Let's represent the previous program through flowchart. The sum of first 3 natural numbers, remember, in screen you can see all those processing boxes. In flowchart represent those 4 statements: int x equals to 1, int y equals to 2, int z equals to 3 and sum equals to x plus y plus z. After that, input or output box print the value of sum. Now see this flowchart carefully. This flowchart represents the previous flowchart program but through loop. Let's explain this flowchart briefly. At first start, then in processing box, initialize those 2 variables x and sum with 1 and 0 respectively. Next is a checking. If x less than equals to 3, then control goes to the true hand. Then at first calculate the sum as sum equals to sum plus x. After that we increase the value of x with plus 1. By this we can generate all natural numbers one by one from 1. In previous flowchart, without loop, if I want to increase the number of natural numbers, then I have to introduce another variable. Also, have to do some edit and calculation of sum statement. That means add another processing box. But in this flowchart, we just change the value 3. For 5 natural numbers, change the value 3 to 5 or n. If we write n, then you can put any value into it or as input, taking from user at runtime. Through this, you can run your program with any number of natural numbers. Here, whenever the value of x exceeds the value of n, then the loop will break and the control will go to false end. And after that, print the sum and the program will stop or terminate. For this reason, the statement that we are used to execute a set of statements repeatedly are called looping statement or loop or iteration. We can perform any conditional repetitive type of flow very easily. Let's see how many loops are in Java or BlueJ. By the mechanism how the loop executes, we can divide loops into 2 categories: in entry control loop and exit control loop. In this entry control loop or top tested or pre-tested loop, the loop condition is tested before entering into the loop. If the test condition evaluates to true, the loop body is executed. The loops belonging in this category are for loop and while loop. But there are some difference between them. For loop used for fixed number iteration. That means we know how many time iteration requires for achieving the required answer, like sum of n natural numbers. Here we know that we have to stop the iteration at the time when the loop control variable value exceeds n, whereas while used at unknown number iteration. The second type of loop is exit control loop. This exit control loop known as bottom tested or post tested loop also. This bottom tested loop first executes the loop body and then executes the condition. The loop belonging in this category is do while loop. This type of loops are useful when we want to execute the body of loop at least once, irrespective of the test condition evaluation, such as for displaying menu option. Today we are going to discuss for loop. This for loop is very useful, maybe the maximum written loop in Java, and this is the easiest one among all. In this loop, all loop control elements written in one place at the beginning of the loop. Here is the syntax of loop: for, then first bracket, start, then initialization expressions, then test expression, then after that update expression on expressions, after that the closing bracket, and next line the body of loop starts and ends with a semicolon. If the body of loop contains multiple statements, you can enclose this body of loop with second bracket or curly bracket if the body of loop contains multiple statements. Otherwise, body of loop is a single line just like shown in the screen. Let's explain syntax first. Here I expand the view of the syntax just for better view. For that reason, I write this syntax in multiple lines, but you have to write all things in a single line. Expect the body of loop. Here you can see I add s after initialization expression and update expression, because we can write multiple initialization and updation in a single for loop. Basically, for loop contains 4 parts: initialization part, test expression part, update expression part, and body of loop. Let's discuss all of them briefly using a program. So the program is sum of first 100 natural numbers. Sum of first 100 natural numbers is a series, and series looking something like this: 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 up to plus 100. The for loop for this series is this: for I equals to 1, I less than equals to 100, I plus plus. The loop actually generates the series, but we need another variable to calculate the sum. So we add sum equals to sum plus I. Let's discuss all part of this program code. This is initialization part, I equals to 1. Assume we already declared I and sum as an integer variable before starting this for loop. The variable using here I is called control variable. This part I equals to 1 actually the starting point of the loop. The variable value must be initialized. This part actually executes once at the very first time. If the loop iterates more than one time, then second iteration starts from after for, from I less than equals to 100. That means after the first semicolon, which is situated after I equals to 1. Also we can initialize multiple variables here. How? Showing after a few minutes. Next, test expression part. This part is between two semicolons. This test expression actually determines the existence of the loop. The life of this loop depends on the condition or the situation. It is a Boolean expression, true or false. If the result of this test expression is true, then body of loop will execute. Otherwise, the loop will terminate. Next, the update expression part. This part of the loop will update the value of control variable or loop variable We can update the control or loop variable by any operator, anyone. But normally we use all arithmetic, unary and shorthand operator here. And also we can update multiple variables value here. We are going to discuss later in this video this thing. Next, the body of the loop. If the body of loop is just a single line, then you can write just that statement with the semicolon at the end. But if the body of loop is more than one line, then you have to enclose the whole body of loop like body of class or body of method within curly bracket or second bracket. This expression statement or statement executes repeatedly until the test expression is false. As I show you before, two types of loop exist: entry control loop and exit control loop. In entry control loop, body of loop execute after checking of test expression, and in exit control loop, body of loop executes before checking the test expression. Today we are discussing for loop briefly. So here body of loop executes after the test expression. Let's see how a for loop works. I draw a table here. In this table, all rows represent every iteration of this loop and every column represent the changing value of each variable in each iteration. Now start the iteration. As I said before, we assume that the sum is already declared and it initialized with 0 before entering the for loop. In first iteration, the value of I is 1, as I initialized with value 1 at the initialization part here. So the value of I is 1. After that, test expression works. So it checks if I less than equals to 100. The value of I is 1. So this test expression is true. The control entered into the loop body. So sum equals to sum plus I executes. Imagine sum was initialized with value 0 before starting this loop, as I said before. So sum equals to sum plus I means 0 plus the value of I, which is 1. So it's 0 plus 1, 1. Value of sum is 1 now. After that, update expression works. So I plus plus become I equals to I plus 1, which is 2. So the value of I is 2. So the value of I is 2. Here I plus plus executes after the body of loop, but if it's plus plus I, a pre-increment operator, then body of loop works with updated value of I. Now coming to next iteration, here iteration starts with updated value of I, which is 2. As I said before, initialization part execute once. So in this second iteration, start from test expression part, which is I less than equals to 100. So at first control check if I less than equals to 100, here I equals to 2. Then 2 less than equals to 100 is true. So control goes to the body of loop, which is sum equals to sum plus I. The previous value of sum is 1. So it's now 1 plus 2 equals to 3. The value of sum is 3. After that, the value of I updated with plus 1. So the new value of I is 3. In iteration 3, the control at first goes to test expression 3 less than equals to 100, which is true. So it goes to the body of loop. So sum equals to 3 plus 3, 6, 1, and I update with the new value 3 plus 1, 4. Same for iteration. Here sum equals to 6 plus 4, 10, and I update with value plus 1, which is 4, 3 plus 1, 4. Next, for fifth iteration, so value of sum is 10 plus 5, 15, and the new value of I is 5. Same goes on up to iteration number 100. At iteration number 100, the sum completed. At 100th iteration, the value of I will be 101, like this. At the end, in next iteration, the test expression would be 101 less than equals to 100. This is not true. So the loop will terminate. Remember one thing, the first line of for loop always executes one time more than the body of loop. First line means this for I equals to 1, semicolon, I less than equals to 100, semicolon, I plus plus. If iteration needs n times, then for a valid whole iteration, the body of loop executes n time for all true value, but head of the loop executes for all true value plus one false value for which the loop will terminate. So it actually executes n plus one time. Now come to the multiple initialization. This sum variable should be initialized before the loop start as like shown in screen now. In multiple initialization, we can initialize value of sum also inside the loop header like this. Also, we can use multiple update like this. Here the loop body is now inside the loop header. There are some loop or types of loop which doesn't have any body at all. That is called empty loop or null loop. In this code, if we make multiple initialization and multiple update both inside the loop head, then there is no need for loop body. So in this type of situation, you have to write a semicolon after the loop header like this. In this case, loop will iterate within itself in same line. The control doesn't go to next line if the test condition is true. You can just put a print statement after the line like that. Sometimes this type of loop also called null loop or the bodiless loop. There is another special type of loop which is infinite loop, a loop which can't terminate normally. I will come into that topic at the end of today's class. In for loop head, everything is optional. Like in this code, I equals to 1 executes only one time. So we can write this I equals to 1 before the for loop starts like that. You can write like that because this initialization part is optional. Next, also we can write this I++, the update part inside the loop body after sum equals to sum plus I. So this is also optional like in this screen. Only compulsory things in for loop are the for keyword, 2 first bracket and 2 semicolon. So this optional expression 3 is also a valid expression. Actually, you can erase every part from for loop, the test condition part also, something like that. This type of loop is called infinite loop. The both loops in this screen are infinite loops. Sometimes we also called endless loop. You can omit the test expression, either you make it an infinite loop. The second one is an infinite loop. How? Because here you can see loop starts from 1, try to go to 10. So for this one, the value of I should increase, but you can see in code, instead of I++, I write I minus minus. That means here I am decreasing the value of I with -1. So in every iteration, value of I will be like 1, 0, -1, -2, -3 and so on. And it will never reach to 10. So this loop will continue to infinity times. So this is also an example of infinite loop. Sometimes this type of loop created by programmer continuously for displaying some message again and again. Now the last thing, you can declare a variable inside the for loop head. Sometimes programmer declare the control variable like that. In this program code, we declare an integer variable I inside the for loop head as a control variable. The life of this control variable I is within this for loop. Whenever the loop body ends, the existence of this variable I will be removed. If this loop contains another loop inside, they can access this variable I. Let's see a program. Here is a simple program. At first I declare two variables, int I equals to 0 and int sum equals to 0. Sum equals to 0. Now I am going to start the for loop. This program is for sum of first 100 natural numbers, which I already discussed a few minutes ago in this lecture. So at first, for I equals to 1, I less than equals to 100, I plus plus. And after that, I write sum equals to sum plus I. Remember, if the body of loop is a single line, then you can just write this line with a semicolon at the end. No curly brackets required. Now I have to print this sum value. So it's System.out.println sum. Compiling. Class compiled, no syntax error. Now I am going to run this program. Here is the output, sum equals to 5050. Now going back to program code, I put I equals to 1 outside of this for loop, and I put I plus plus outside of this for loop head. Now run the program. Class compiled, no syntax error. Here is the output. Consider the second one. The first one is for the total for loop and second one is the optional for loop. Going back to the program code, here is the I equals to 1. I also write sum equals to 0 here, and this line sum equals to sum plus I here also. Remember, whenever you write more than one expression, more than one, like I plus 1 and sum equals to 0, then you have to separate them with a semicolon. You can't write two test expression at a time. And I make it as a comment and I put a semicolon here. Let's delete this 0. Now this program is going to run for sum of first 10 natural numbers, not 100 natural numbers. Compile, no syntax error. Let's run this program. Here is your output, 55. So that's it. That's it for today. If you like this class, then please hit on the like button and subscribe my channel. If you have some question, then please write in comment or mail me in my email ID. Thanks for watching and keep learning.